So I'd like to welcome Karsten Pawlik, founder and VP of Operations of Alpine Demolition, to the Contractor's Bible. Karsten, thanks for being with me today. Karsten has a great story to tell that I'm really excited to get into. He's got a civil engineering degree from the University of Florida and an MBA from Northern Illinois University, which makes a unique combination to be really successful in the demolition industry. He's got over 30 years experience in the contracting business, including 18 years since he started Alpine Demolition with Kelli Pawlik. So Karsten, thanks for being with us today.
Sure, thank you. Yep, and Kelly's actually the owner of the company.
Okay.
I just work for her, so just an FYI.
Fantastic. So is Kelli your sister, your wife? How are you guys related?
She's my wife.
She's your wife, all right. So she gets the final say in everything.
She does. She signs all the checks. She does she pretty much acts as our CFO, besides all the other stuff she does. So she manages all the money. She gets to do the fun stuff, pay bills. So
you gotta love that, right? So what was the first job you ever had in the contracting business? Was it in demolition, or was it, were you electrician, plumber? What did you do? How'd you get into contracting?
So my dad was in the demolition business. My dad was an immigrant from Germany.
Okay.
And he came to America and had all the different jobs like immigrants do, right? And he liked to run a machine, but he couldn't keep grade. He couldn't grade stuff, but he could sure wreck stuff with like a loader. Back in the old days, you would use a 977 loader and you just wreck it, make a big pile and haul it out, right? You wouldn't separate or anything like that. It was just blow and go demolition.
Sure.
So I used to drive around with him when I was a kid and go to his sites and see how he did stuff. I used to run small jobs. When I was in college and stuff in the summers, I used to work construction. I ran small jobs. I helped build 355 interstate out here. I helped build a golf course. And then when I came out of college, I ended up going to work for a heavy and highway contractor in the Chicagoland area, and I was an estimator for them. So I started out in the heavy and highway world, bidding road projects and things of that nature. I went down to Florida, worked for a while for a heavy and highway guy in Jacksonville. So I bid and project managed jobs down there. And then my dad called me back to go work for his company. I went back to his company and I started working in demolition full time at that time.
I've got a similar background. I think a lot of demo guys, they grow up and it's a family business and you kind of fall in love with it at a young age and you want to get out of it, but it's, you're kind of drawn to it. So,
it's a love-hate relationship.
100%. So, did you take over your dad's business, or was it?
No, my dad's business, I was never an owner. He had a couple other partners.
Okay.
So they went in a different direction once my dad sold out. I worked for them for a while, but then we ended up starting our own company.
Awesome. And that was when, 2002, you said, right?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. And it's been a fantastic 18 years since then.
It's been awesome. Yes. It's been a fun ride. It's amazing.
It's lots of ups and downs, and you've been in the past 18 years. You've seen some serious ups and downs with the recession and a building boom, and now what we're going through recently with the COVID-19 pandemic of things slowing and starting to pick back up. We hope soon.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster for sure, and that's the one thing in demolition, and I guess any type of business pretty much, is you need to stay on the tracks, keep your course is one of my beliefs. You're going to have ups and downs, right? Sometimes
Sure.
You're not getting any work. You can't figure out why. Why aren't they, the competition's really tough out there. And then you end up getting a bunch of work. And, you just got to stay steady. You need to keep the emotion out of it. It's personally what I try to do is just, look at everything analytically, look at it from a business sense, keep the emotion out. And just stay steady and keep your cool.
Yeah,
you really got to keep your cool.
It's tough when you're in this type of industry and the work goes up and down, and you could be so busy where you got to add a whole bunch of people one month, but then you're so slow and you got to try and let people go or try and find a place for them. It can be really difficult. But,
It is tough because you have your core guys and your people are your company, right? I'm not the company. I'm just, but without the laborers out there, without our operators, without all our project managers, it's a team effort. It's just like any sports team.
Yeah.
We're only as good as our weakest link. I mean, there's one guy out there that can do something that could put us out of business. Right?
Sure.
That's what business owners lay awake at night about. So it's a team effort, and it's the sum of the parts. It's what makes us a great company.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say, as you go through business, there's great successes, right? I'm sure you've got all these, a couple of jobs that you could look back on. And I know Alpine has won some awards for some of the projects that you guys have done. And but there's those couple jobs that were the failures, right? That something went wrong. But I'd say, what was your favorite failure? What was one that you really learned a lesson that you say, you can look back and while it was pretty terrible at the time, you were able to learn a really good lesson and move forward?
We were doing a bridge demo over the Dan Ryan Expressway in Chicago, on the south side of Chicago. We were going over the expressway and over the CTA tracks. So it was a lot of coordination, and there was 3 spans, and we were taking the center span out. And they're huge girders we were taking down. And the only way to take them down, we had to use 2 cranes, one to pick them up, one to move the beam once it's on the ground. We had 5 semi-trucks lined up, long trailers to put the beams on. So we'd take one off in theory, you put it down on the ground. Well, actually, we had 12. We had to cut these beams in half and to put half a beam on each truck. Right. Wow. So we had all these resources out there. We shut down the road. It's a Saturday night. That's when we get the longest, or it was a Friday night. That's when it was best to do because you have the longest window to work. Shut down the express lanes, bring in these cranes, set up the cranes. It takes 2-3 hours to set up the crane. And then we go to pick the girder. And the first girder we couldn't get off the beam. We had all this set up and it got stuck on a bearing. And it just got stuck.
Wow.
The load was lopsided a little bit, the way the guys rigged it. We didn't rig it straight, rigged it a little crooked. So the way we lifted it up, it got stuck. So that whole night, we were able to get the one girder off, but that was it. So we got the one girder on the ground, got the one girder out, and we pretty much had to spend a whole nother night with all these resources to get the rest of them down. So I learned from that how important it was to make sure your loads, I double-check the loads to make sure that you pick it at the center of gravity of the load. Okay,
Sure.
This was heavier on one side than the other, and you got to take things into account. That sometimes the girders aren't evenly weighted. So that was a pretty, that was a pretty life lesson. It cost us a lot of money.
I bet all those resources sitting there for all that extra time. Do you guys spend a lot more time planning for those types of projects, or do you plan?
Oh, we planned like crazy on this job, right? In this job, we actually had another incident on this job too, where we almost cut off the parapet wall into the expressway. A saw cutter did something it wasn't supposed to do. So it was a challenge. Even though we put plans, you got to follow up on your plans. You got to check your plans. You can't assume one guy could really screw something up.
Absolutely.
So those are life lessons learned. But you learn from it and you get better and you move on. So
yeah, absolutely. That's kind of what being in business is all about. You're going to go, like you said, you're going to go through those ups and downs. But when you do, it's really about how you can adjust on the fly and make the best of a situation that may not be great at the time, but really learn from it. So when you come across that the next time, you're set up for success.
Yeah, you just got to. When something bad happens, it's real important to keep your cool.
Yeah.
And think about it and do the right thing. Don't take any shortcuts, and make sure you don't mess anything up, break anything, or you don't want to get anybody hurt, right? Yeah. Just keep your cool, think about it, take your time, and work your way through it. It's like any problem in life. You can work your way through any problem, I believe. Just got to work hard and work your way through it.
I couldn't agree more. So, before we started, you were saying that you believe in leading the industry in technology and innovations, right? So what's been one of the most worthwhile investments you've made in your business?
Definitely our equipment.
Okay.
We bought a high reach excavator quite a few years ago, and that really gave us a competitive advantage for a while. It could reach up 80 foot.
Sure.
That really helped us out. Also, with the new technology coming out with the Brocks and with the Sherpas, I mean, those are really game changers where you can, save guys' backs using
Sure.
those equipments. You can get the work done quicker. Our foremen, they like to, like with the Sherpas, like to, when you demo a wall, load the block with the Sherpa. It saves your back. Our
Sure.
foreman was like, it really helps the guys versus shoveling block into a cart. They use a Sherpa to load it up, and it really helps out a lot.
So a lot of investment in new technology around your equipment.
Yep, that and also technology. I mean, we've had our server in the cloud for the past 3 years.
Okay.
Almost 4 years now. All our people, actually, we just updated in January with Windows 10. I updated some of our older computers, so everyone in the office had a laptop. I looked at it, I said, you know what? I'll just give everybody laptops just in case. Well, guess what? Just in case happened, all our people, we can work. Now we're working every other day for people in the office, but people can work at home. Everyone in my company has a laptop.
Sure.
Everybody in the office. So they can work at home. They can work in the cloud. Also, we use, I don't know if you've heard of the Field Flow program. It's an online, like to do time on the tablets. All our foremen also have tablets. We got them all tablets with phone service. So everyone does their time, JHAs, all that stuff. We do all that electronically.
Amazing.
So when this COVID thing hit, we were set up. We had this stuff. We started that program back in November. So by now, we pretty much, the time for sure, some of the other things, kinks were working out, some of the details like the loads and things like that. But the time, we're able to do the time. Monday morning, my lady, if she's at home or here, she's got everybody's time.
Sure.
Me, our superintendents, we can all look, our project managers can check the time on the guys and know exactly what's going on every day. So things like that are really helping us out, especially when you have issues like we're having now. So we felt really ahead of it with that stuff.
It's amazing. I've talked to a lot of people, and everyone's first thing when they say, what's your favorite technology? Everybody goes to equipment right away. Whether it's the new shiny thing that you can touch and feel and see, but you don't realize how incredible a software can be when you've updated and you can make an adjustment on the fly. You can't come in to work today, but you can still be productive doing this, or you can move documents instantaneously.
Right.
Just
and even now with Zoom, right? What we're doing with these Zoom calls. I mean, we're doing our safety meetings. So tomorrow in the state of Illinois, it's required that you have sexual harassment training every year. Sure. And Illinois just came up with the rules for it. So we have quite a few guys working now. I said, tomorrow will be a good day around break time, 11 a.m. We're going to have sexual harassment training. I made sure all my foremen can use Zoom. Yeah, we had a Zoom meeting a couple weeks ago. We had a COVID-19 stand down with Zoom. We had all our crews Zoom in, and we did a stand down. So we're doing a lot of our safety meetings for the whole company, including the office, on Zoom, which is kind of cool. You can see all the crews. They all set up the iPad so you can see everybody, and it's kind of cool, some of the things we're doing.
That's fantastic. So what's your favorite thing about the demo business?
My favorite thing is the people in the demolition industry.
Okay.
Just meeting all the people, interacting with people. And then the next favorite thing would be, bidding and setting up projects. Coming up with innovative ways to do projects, the scheduling, the planning. I like to lay everything out. I like to separate my jobs into silos, different parts of the job, so I can keep costs of the track, keep costs of the schedule. If you got a big job, I split up in little pieces. Put a foreman in each part of the job. You handle each part of the job as a little job, and it's a very successful model of being successful in the project. A lot of guys try to take on too much. You can't do that. You got to split up in little pieces.
Sure.
So I really enjoy the challenge, challenging projects and working with the people to get these jobs done. I mean, like Wrigley Field, we were working 7/12s. We did I think 4 of the phases at Wrigley Field for the demolition, including the bleachers, including the ramps and the roof. We took the whole roof off of Wrigley Field last year. and
Yeah, I was
just
going
get
to say
that done.
they replaced all of the outfield bleachers like a year and a half, 2 years ago. It was for that, right?
Yeah, we didn't do the outfield bleachers. We did the infield bleachers. Actually, we demoed.
All right.
We had very tight time frames on that. We had like 100,000 hours a day liquidated damages for not meeting milestones. So those are the jobs.
Oh yeah, you're pouring it
That's
into
what I
them.
live for, is those jobs to get them done.
That's
Right.
awesome. I guess you win the World Series for the first time in 107 years, and all the money comes in, and you're finally ready to update this amazingly old stadium. That's fantastic. So
And then they canceled the season the next year.
Yeah.
They could have saved a lot of money right now. If they would have just done the construction all at once now, but you don't know.
Right. Hopefully it comes back soon. I think everyone in the country is dying for sports to come back.
Absolutely.
We need something. So what's your least favorite thing about the demo business?
My least favorite thing is getting paid on change orders. That's tough. Extra work, bad planning on the job, if bad plans, unforeseen conditions, getting change orders approved. I mean, that's one of the tough parts of our business.
Yeah.
Getting paid for the extras, and waiting to get paid, and retention and all that stuff. So that can be a real drag sometimes.
That was always my thing when my father had a demo business, and I worked for him for a little bit before I went out and started my own company. But when I worked for him, that was always the worst part for me. Was you're the first person on the job, and there's retention, and the building is gone. You're not going to get it back. But here we are, especially if you're doing highway work, like you're doing a bridge, and it takes 5 years for them to, build the new bridge, and the contract ends, and they're still trying to argue with you for all this time. And
that's one of the worst parts of our business. It's just getting paid.
Yeah.
And being able to get the proper money for your jobs. That's tough to do. Everybody, it's so competitive. It's a competitive market. It's very competitive. So.
It definitely is. It really is. So, you've been in the business you've been in the contracting business for over 30 years, right? Had your own demo business for the last 18. But if you could go back and give yourself some advice when you were 20 years old, what advice would you give yourself?
Just keep your cool and work hard, just good things will come. Because when you're young, everybody thinks they know everything, right? You think you should get paid all this money and stuff, but it takes time.
Yeah.
Patience, pay your dues, I think the road I went down was a pretty good road to the career I've ended up in. But at times it really sucked. When I was like a lowly estimator doing dirt takeoffs, it was boring as hell, and it sucked. And there were other things, all-nighters and IDOT lettings and stuff I used to do when I worked for the heavy and highway guys. And, I would work as a laborer. I worked as a laborer out in the field when I was in college. It was boring. I worked we worked 6 12s. I worked a night shift once, 6 12s all summer long. I didn't have a life. I worked from like 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., Monday night through Saturday night. Sunday, I'd sleep all day. And then, like, man, this is terrible. But looking back, I learned so much about jobs and how things went. And, I was that young kid that made every stupid mistake. I did all the mistakes. So learn from your mistakes and just stick with it,
Yeah, it's one of my first jobs ever in high school. I would work for my dad during the summer, but, I would, on the weekends, I actually worked the night shift at a bakery. It was just something I had. I would, a family friend, and I'd go in and I'd help out from like 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. And, I was 16 years old. I had all the energy in the world, but you get a real sense of what hard work is when you see you see other people. Because for me, it wasn't a full-time job, but, you see what other people are going through to make it work and to get to where they want to go. And you have a real appreciation for that.
Yeah, it made me realize to work hard, What I'm doing now, if I got to work, like I go home and sometimes I have to work on a bid or something for a couple hours, big deal, right? So I have to sit in front of my computer and crunch numbers, not a big deal, right? So
last question, right? through everything you've been through, right? What has your experiences and your business and where you've gotten it to, what has it given to you that you never thought you'd be able to have? Or a place you've gone, or people you've met, or something that you know, 25, 30 years ago, you never imagined that you'd be able to get to here and experience this thing or go to this place?
Being on the National Demolition Association board,
Okay.
that's been a really good experience. You know, you always worry about, oh my God, do I have the time for it? Can I do it? But you can make the time for it. You can do it. And the things you learn from being part of an association like that is a good experience. You know, I never thought I'd be able to learn all this stuff and meet all the other demolition guys around there, because it's all your top in class guys that belong to that.
Sure.
So and we go a lot of neat places. Well, we have. I don't know if we will anymore. But you know, but doing that, that's really been a good experience for me that I didn't really foresee.
Amazing.
You know?
That's awesome. Well, look, that's all the questions I have. It's really, that was it was about 20 minutes. It went really quickly. I really appreciate you taking the time, getting to hear your story. Thanks for being on the Contractor's Bible.
No problem.
All right.
Stay safe out there.
Yeah, you too.
See ya.